Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla and let me introduce you to my guest Moria. Moria, thank you so much for joining in.
Happy.
So let's start with our very basic question. Can you please introduce our audience to yourself, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about
Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Moria Levy. I have a PhD in knowledge management, and that's my job, my hobby, my passion for the last 26 years. The truth is, I started as a software engineer, and the truth is that I really didn't like it. I think that I went to learn computer science because I was good in math and I was looking for something very near, and that was the nearest. But it turned out that math is nice in high school. Computers may be nice in university, but when they came to life, I was looking for something else, and something like over the 10 years or more, I changed my profession when I was introduced to the idea of knowledge management. Now, knowledge management sounds like two words that don't connect, and for good reason. When we speak about knowledge management, we mean that we find means for organizations to share their knowledge, to keep it, to retain it, to make it more accessible, and to continue developing and creating new knowledge in systematic ways to achieve better what the organization needs. Its objectives, handling its risks, leveraging it, and maybe even being the engine for new places, new success of the organization, all based on its knowledge. And it turned to be my passion.
That's really great. So you have shifted from software engineer to a knowledge management person, right? So how a day looks like to you in your life? Like what are your day-to-day tasks in order to follow this passion?
Okay, so that would be a bit hectic, I would say, because I have several roles that I take. First of all, I own and manage a company, and I have nearly 40 people working with me. I have 30 employees on my payroll, and I have additional 10 business partners around all over the world that do KM in our methodologies, in our way, with us together as part of ROM Global, the company that I own and manage. So I never want to disconnect from work. So part of the day or part of the night, I'm also connected to daily job on knowledge management and on running a company, of course. However, I have several additional roles. I teach in 3 universities. I do research on KM. There is even 2 subtopics, 2 subdisciplines where I'm probably the most quoted researcher in these subtopics of KM, because I have something like over 1,000 citations to all kinds of academic researches. But that would be only a small part of my job. So I have the business role, the business hat, I have the academic hat, and I have the public hat, where I also, the small thing is to manage the Israeli Association for Knowledge Management. But those, the other roles that take maybe even more of my time have to do with ISO, like in other topics, like in software and like in innovation and like for risk, we have a special standard of ISO management for knowledge management. That would be 30401. And I'm the project leader, the head of the development and now the continuing of the knowledge management standard. So that also is part of the job. And I just got a WhatsApp from someone from the team on it. And I wrote the standard on my computer. And another role that even takes more of my time on the public side would be on KMGN. KMGN is a KM global network that, like we have a network in Israel, which I lead, we have in all other countries, in India, in the US, in Australia, in Japan, Germany, you name it. And the KMGN is a global network that connects all these networks together. And I'm part of the leadership of this network. And one may say that I'm the KM of KMGN. So I'm in charge of all activities. Yesterday, I completed a course we are giving every year, a new course, 20 weeks. We completed the course. I'm now starting to work. I started working last month on a KM Global Week, which we will hold on October. In between, we have roundtables, a research community. So I'm not bored.
That's really great. I think it's a long day that you have shared with us. So how you try to maintain a work-life balance and how you try to prioritize your tasks, like you are managing different roles. So how you prioritize them?
Okay. So first of all, I didn't mention it, but I'm also a proud mother of 4 children and a proud grandmother of 7 grandchildren.
Yes.
So I do have to somehow juggle in order to handle it all together. And I try doing everything. Probably nothing is perfect, but I'm trying to push hard on all of these together. How is my work-life balance? I have a rather silly ideology that if you mix it all together and there's no balance, it's the most balanced way to handle things. So I can sit and see TV at the evening and work on the computer. And Friday morning, which in Israel is the weekend already, like for you, Saturday, would be the best day of my hobby of working, because then I'm only me. The garden may be quiet, good music, and maybe that's where I stop. I'm an Orthodox Jew, so on Saturdays I don't use a computer or a telephone or anything. So there I have time for other types of things doing, and that is also time where I I invest time in reading new materials, because as much as I write books, I buy books, I purchase them and I read them, all the time I have on my shelf more books than I have time to read, and I also summarize them later on. So all the time I'm reading something new and saying, wow, how smart they are. And all the time I'm saying, wow, I want to finish this book to see what's in it already. And so I'm trying to balance all of these together. And as I said, nothing is perfect, but everything together is moving forward.
It's a great thing. So what were the challenges that you have faced till now? I know there must be many, but what were the biggest according to you?
What are the biggest challenges? Okay. Uh, Today, it's easier when I already have a company. So I have people that are bringing some income. So if I have more time for public affairs, I know that the income is down there, but never when you are in charge of a company and you're in charge of the payroll of people, do you sleep quietly. There are always challenges. Someone leaves, someone is now on hold, someone here, someone there. And you all the time upset because you are in charge also of your salary and also of so many out there. So I think that would be one of the things that is not fun and is challenging, to see that all the time there's a good stream of income so that the payrolls are always all right. But otherwise, if you only work for yourself, your impact is smaller. So it's something we have to pay. And I hope that at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we smile, but on the way, sometimes it's more difficult.
Yeah. So how you try to maintain that calmness in you, like while handling different peoples, like you mentioned, you are 40 people are working under you in your organization, right? So how you try to maintain that calmness in you to handle all these people, because there must be different situations that you are facing in your day-to-day life, right? Like you just mentioned, people are coming, people are leaving. So what's the success mantra for you?
First of all, there's no recipe for success. Common sense and being calm is one thing that would be helpful, not taking things too emotionally. But on the other hand, being a human being and not being a machine when you take decisions is important at the same level. So not panicking when things don't go good on one hand, being very patient because things take time. For example, when I started going global, you walk and you walk and you walk, and it takes time until you succeed in bringing the new business partners and the new projects on a global scale. So it takes a lot of patience, and it's a very delicate question when you have to continue what you're doing and wait, and when you have to understand that it's not the right direction and you should change. So how do I do it? I set myself at least once a year a strategy that analyzes very deeply the past year and chooses directions for the new year. B, I monitor it at least bi-monthly and half of the year, something like very deep. And that enables me not to be caught only in what I'm doing, but to change directions. That would be one thing, the strategy and the monitoring. Another thing is reading the books gives me a lot of directions. So I'm all the time thinking, what can I do with it? And the third one is be always open to opportunities. And last but not least, don't be afraid of change.
And those are really awesome ones that you have just mentioned with us. And I think these are also the advices that you just gave us in those forms, right? So if I ask you what is your dream now, so what it will be?
Oh, first of all, I want to go back. I don't have advice for others. I have advice for myself.
Okay.
What works for one would be differently for what works for the others. I shine when I walk. I shine when I have new opportunities, when I have an impact. So I'm all the time, people say that if they're pessimistic, they're not, they don't like the situation, they can move forward. I both like the situation where I am, and I'm also never satisfied, and also want to push forward. So you see, what works for me would work for me. And I think that if I would give an advice, I would say that there are so many combinations. Everyone has to believe in themselves and find what works for them. But what would be my next dream? I already have a KM impact worldwide. My next dream would be to lead even more the global market of KM. And that's something that I did my baby steps in, and they're working fine, but they're only the baby steps. I have a lot yet to go to be number one KMer in every sense in the world. So that would be one dream. And the second dream would be that society and organizations will understand the impact, the importance of knowledge and of systematically handling the knowledge within the organizations or within communities and societies, and will hug it, embrace it much better, because it can help them, and we can help them, help all together the society. So I really, really dream, I have a vision of a better world based on KM, and based on KM helping the world achieving it. And I think that I want to be part of this movement and part of this moving forward.
Really great. So you want to spread the knowledge of knowledge management in the world and try to lead it from the front.
And in tried for it to help the world being a better place.
That's really kind of you. So if you can share any stories from your journey till now, I know there must be many. If just one story you like to share with us, what it will be.
Wow, I never have one story to share. I, I, I d- no, I don't have a specific story to share, but I want to tell you that when we are all kind and when we find the way to compliment others on what they are doing good, even if they are our competitors or even if they are different people, we fuel them with a more positive energy. And I think that if we look at the bright side of life and how everyone can contribute and wants to contribute, and if we believe that they're all good, it would be easier for all of us to work and together and to bring it to be a better place in so many matters. You in your way, me in my way, and everyone together.
It's really awesome. I think that's the best way to end this podcast on this very kind note, where we need to give our bit to this world and be kind and generous to other people. Right. So thank you so much, Moria, for sharing your knowledge. It was really an inspiring session from you. Just keep shining, and we hope to have more sessions from you on knowledge management. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.